Laughter is one of the purest and most universal emotions that exist, and when it mixes with absurd stories, memorable characters, and completely unpredictable situations, the result is an explosion of comedy that only anime can deliver. Some turn the simplest everyday life into something hilarious. Others play with the ridiculous in a genius way, taking nonsense to another level. There are also those that use romance, drama, and even madness to bring laughter amid chaos. Today, we're diving into the works that mastered humor in their own unique way, each with its own style, its own madness, and its own way of making you laugh. So get ready, because laughter here is guaranteed. 1. Gintama. Imagine a world where heroes, villains, and aliens share the same space with broke samurais and eccentric merchants. A place where common sense simply doesn't exist, and any situation can turn into an epic joke. It's in this chaotic setting that we follow a lazy, sarcastic, and completely unpredictable protagonist who always seems to be on the edge between genius and insanity. Here, nothing is taken seriously for too long. A simple conversation can become an absurd battle, an important mission turns into a joke, and even the most emotional scenes are broken by authentic and unexpected humor. It's the perfect mix of action, drama, and satire, where even references to other anime, movies, and Japanese culture become reasons to laugh. What stands out the most is how natural everything feels. Even in the most ridiculous situations, the characters have a unique charm and humanity that makes the audience connect with them. Between clever jokes, moments of madness, and reflections hidden within chaos, this series manages to make you laugh, feel, and be surprised all at once. 2. Grand Blue. Some stories start off simple but quickly turn into pure chaos filled with laughter and insanity. Imagine a group of college students who, instead of following the traditional path of studying and responsibility, decide to live every moment like it's their last, full of parties, confusion, and completely absurd situations. At the center of it all is a protagonist who only wanted a peaceful life, but ends up dragged into the most uncontrollable world possible. Between diving, drinking, and ridiculous challenges, he discovers that adulthood can be as fun as it is unpredictable, and that not having control can sometimes be the best way to live. The humor here is raw, direct, and limitless. The exaggerated expressions, misunderstandings, and complete lack of restraint create moments that border on the ridiculous, but in a way that's impossible not to laugh at. And behind all that madness, there's a message about friendship, freedom, and the joy of living without fear of looking foolish. It's the kind of comedy that embraces exaggeration, plays with human weakness, and turns everyday life into a spectacle of laughter, a true celebration of youth and unrestrained fun. 3. Nichijou. Some stories don't need great adventures or legendary heroes to be unforgettable. Sometimes everyday life itself becomes the stage for the most absurd situations. And that's where the genius lies. In this world, the ordinary is taken to the extreme. A simple stumble turns into an action scene worthy of a movie. A normal gesture becomes intense drama, and even the most casual conversations explode into unexpected humor. Everything is exaggerated, vibrant, and unpredictable, as if reality itself were playing around with the viewer. The characters are the heart of this madness. Each one has their quirks, habits, and bizarre reactions, but together, they create a universe where nothing is impossible. There's something both innocent and chaotic here, a perfect balance between nonsense and sincerity, capable of making you laugh even in the simplest moments. What makes this work so special is the way it turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's a comedy that celebrates the absurdity of daily life, reminding us that even the most insignificant moments can become unforgettable when seen with humor. 4. The Disastrous Life of Psyche K. Some people are born to live a quiet life. Others are born to deal with chaos. And then there are those who, even while trying to avoid any kind of trouble, end up attracting every possible problem. Imagine having powers that let you do practically anything. Read minds, move objects, predict the future, and still only wanting a little peace. But the world doesn't cooperate. The people around him are so unpredictable that not even the greatest powers can handle the madness. Strange friends, absurd situations, and an endless chain of disasters turn daily life into a comedy of errors, where the protagonist is both the most powerful and the unluckiest person alive. The humor here comes from irony. The more he tries to live a normal life, the more everything falls apart. Every attempt to stay calm becomes a new catastrophe, and every mundane encounter turns into a festival of absurdity. It's the kind of comedy that plays with life's chaos, showing that sometimes the greatest power isn't controlling things, it's surviving them. 5. Kaguya-sama. Love is war. Love can be simple, but when two extremely intelligent people fall for each other, nothing stays simple. Here, romance turns into a true war of minds, where every glance, every gesture, and every word becomes a strategic battle. Neither wants to surrender, because confessing first would mean losing. The result is a series of hilarious situations, misunderstandings, and elaborate plans that almost never go right. What should be a simple love story becomes a psychological battlefield, where pride, embarrassment, and stubbornness turn everyday life into a brilliant and unpredictable comedy. The humor comes from the constant tension. Two geniuses, completely incapable of handling their own feelings, create moments that swing naturally between romance and ridiculousness. Between mind games and emotional traps, what was meant to be a confession turns into an endless contest. It's a smart, charming, and deeply human comedy, showing that sometimes the heart can be more stubborn than any brilliant mind. 6. Full Metal Panic, Fumofu. Not every comedy needs a typical school setting, and not every protagonist understands what it means to live a normal life. Imagine a soldier trained for war, used to explosives and secret missions, being placed in a regular high school, trying to act like a normal student. The result? A hilarious disaster. With every attempt to adapt, he turns the simplest situations into tactical operations worthy of a battlefield. A casual conversation becomes an espionage mission. A small misunderstanding turns into a military crisis, and any minor problem is solved with completely over-the-top strategies. But what makes it all work is the contrast. While the protagonist acts with absurd seriousness, the world around him reacts in disbelief, creating a chain of exaggerated and unpredictable comedic moments. And amidst all the confusion, there's still room for friendship, a touch of romance, and that timeless physical humor that only gets better with time. It's a comedy that mixes action, absurdity, and charisma, showing that even the most serious hero can be the center of laughter when placed in the wrong place, in the most perfect way possible. 7. Detroit Metal City. Some artists are born to shine under the spotlight, while others just want to follow their hearts. But what happens when the dream of a sweet musician who loves romantic songs turns into a nightmare of deafening guitars, aggressive lyrics, and fans who worship him as a demon of metal? That's the essence of this story. The contrast between who someone is and who they have to be. By day, a shy, insecure dreamer. By night, a crazed vocalist screaming about chaos, hate, and destruction, unable to reveal his true identity to anyone. The humor comes from that abyss between the artist and his mask, between the desire to sing about love and the obligation to scream about hell. The situations are so absurd they border on surreal. Out-of-control concerts, deranged fans, ruthless producers, and a series of disasters that only worsen with each attempt at normalcy. Still, behind all the exaggeration lies a sharp critique of the world of fame, the pressure of image, and the cost of living a role that doesn't fit who you are. It's a bold, dark, and completely unpredictable comedy that turns an artist's internal conflict into a symphony of chaos and laughter. 8. Bulky the Rock. Sometimes comedy doesn't come from absurd situations or exaggerated jokes, but from real life, from fears and insecurities that everyone has felt at some point. This story shows exactly that. A shy girl who struggles to connect with others but finds in music a way to express everything she can't say out loud. The contrast between what she feels and what the world expects of her creates incredibly funny and touching moments. Every attempt to socialize, every awkward gesture, every overthought reaction turns everyday life into a show of gentle, honest, and deeply relatable humor. What's fascinating is how laughter here comes hand in hand with empathy. The protagonist isn't perfect. She makes mistakes, panics, and sometimes completely freezes. But that's what makes her so real. Her flaws, her overreactions, and her escapes create a comedy that mixes awkwardness, warmth, and personal growth. In the end, it's a story about growing up, facing fear, and learning to laugh at yourself. A comedy that proves the path to shining can be strange, quiet, and full of stumbles, but always worth it. 9. Great Teacher Onizuka. Some teachers educate through books, others through experience. But there are those who teach in the most unpredictable way possible, through chaos, confusion, and a heavy dose of humor. This is the story of a man who never dreamed of being the perfect teacher, but ended up becoming one of the most remarkable precisely because he broke every rule. Before stepping into a classroom, he was the opposite of what you'd expect from an educator: impulsive, reckless, and completely unconventional. Yet, his unique way of dealing with students turns every lesson into something far beyond simple theory. Between one disaster and another, he shows that education isn't just in books, but in the experiences that make people grow. The humor here drives everything. Each episode mixes absurd situations, blunders, and heartfelt moments that reveal the human side of every character. He breaks taboos, challenges authority, and turns the worst problems into laughter, but always leaves a message amid the chaos. It's a comedy that blends irreverence and emotion, showing that sometimes the best teachers are those who understand that laughing and failing are part of learning. 10. The 100 Girlfriends Who really love you. Some love stories try to show how hard it is to find the one. But what if fate decided to take things too far? Imagine someone discovering that instead of one soulmate, he has 100. Yes, 100 girls, each with her own personality, feelings, and way of loving, and all hopelessly in love with the same person. The result is a romantic comedy completely out of control, where the impossible becomes routine, and love stops being a choice to become a survival challenge. Every date, every confession, every attempt to please everyone leads to situations so absurd they border on surreal. Yet, behind the madness, there's surprising sincerity in each relationship, proving that humor can be born from the exaggeration of feelings. The protagonist, lost among so much affection, tries the impossible, to love them all without hurting anyone. It's pure comedic chaos, full of misunderstandings, confusion, and moments that play with every romantic cliché in creative and hilarious ways. This is one of those stories that embraces absurdity without fear, turning excess into laughter and romance into something so huge that the only way to handle it is to laugh. It's love multiplied by 100, and comedy taken to the extreme. So, which of these comedies made you laugh until you cry? Tell me in the comments which one was your favorite, or which you think deserved a spot on the list. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps the channel grow and shows me you want more lists like this. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos, because there's a lot of great stuff coming soon. So sit back, subscribe, drop a like, and let's keep laughing together in the next video.